also a part of your 12th standard syllabus, including reproduction in organisms. So these two chapters we have already done along with reproductive health. So we had already, started with our 12th standard journey, but now officially we have completed with the entire 11th. I'm moving ahead with the 12th standard syllabus officially. So I'm going to start with a chapter associated with sexual reproduction in the flowering plants. So we had just completed the chapter of plant kingdom in the last week, and we had seen something called as angiosperms. So we had discussed in detail about algae, bryophyta, pteridophyta, gymnospermia, and angiospermia. So we are going to purely talk about the angiosperms as the flowering plant. Whereas even we have completed with morphology of flowering plants, anatomy of flowering plants, and now the last part of this particular, journey of botany ends over here with sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So for your board exams, this particular chapter is going to be asked and it has got a good weightage. So even in your boards, they are going to ask you questions based on this particular chapter. बहुत easy chapter है. There is nothing to worry about. It's really simple. The only thing is, uh, you have to be, very attentive by whatever I'm saying or whatever I'm talking about. Okay. Yeah. What's your doubt, beta? Uh, Confirm which 12th standard chapters I have completed. I have completed 12th standard chapter is human reproduction, reproduction in organisms, and reproductive health. So these three chapters of 12th standard I have completed in the first session itself last year. And now I'm moving ahead with the fourth chapter of 12th standard, which I have to complete. That is sexual reproduction and flowering plants. So with this, our unit, I guess 6, because unit 5 is going to be till your 11th standard, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is going to be your 12th standard. So your unit 6 would be completed. Plant growth and development, as I say, I'm talking from your NEET point of view and your NCERT point of view. If you say from your 12th standard board point of view, then I've completed 3 more chapters, which I'll be telling about. Okay. So after the, the class ends, I'll tell you about those chapters also, like PGD hai, mineral nutrition hai, whatever, transport sir karne wale hai, transport and minerals if I'm not wrong. So whatever, I'll talk about that later on. But as of now, according to your NCERT syllabus, अपना unit 6 जो है, that is going to be reproduction in organisms, sexual reproduction in flowering plants, human reproduction, and reproductive health. Out of these 4 chapters of Unit 6, I've completed 3 chapters and only 1 remains, which I'm starting today. Okay. Why I'm saying it unit wise? Because eventually you will be giving the test unit wise. So you'll be giving unit 1 ka full test, unit 2 ka full test. So you should know what are the units also. So please open your NCERT textbook. Look at the index. They have given unit 1 ke niche kya hai, 2 ke niche. So this is unit 6, which is your 12th standard ka first unit. Fine? Yes. Yeah, GTB ka I'll tell you later on, because GTB is, the names of the chapters are also given differently, and it's mixing of 2 chapters somewhere. So rather than, merging the things and making it complicated, let's follow one particular textbook, which is general for all texts. You can go for BSc, you can go for pharma, you can go for NEET, you can go for both. सबके लिए एक common जो textbook है, you have to follow that for the index purpose. Content purpose, everything is merged and will be taught to you as you have been experienced. Okay. So I go ahead with the first session or the first chapter of sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Okay. So yeah, as very well you can see over here, a very beautiful flower is shown, and it's being shown in the, pollinating phase. That is, an insect which is collecting the nectar and getting the pollens on itself, and it's going to, eventually head towards uh, transferring those pollens to the stigma. So these things are going to be the basic part of your chapter, and you're going to talk in detail about these things. Okay. Now this part, now this particular part is something that is associated with only flowering plants. So we're going to talk only about the flowering plants. Now, this is going to be a quick recap or a revision for you all of your morphology chapter, which we have done last year. But still, I'll be doing it very quickly with these things. So sexual reproduction means it's called as amphimixis. Amphi means both. Mixes is mixing. So practically speaking, it's not mixing, but it is just coming together of the two gametes. So amphi means both. So both the gametes, the male gamete and the female gamete would be brought together as syngamy for the formation of zygote. So therefore, this particular type of reproduction is going to be called as amphimixis. Fine. So other name of sexual reproduction is amphimixis. Got it? So sexual reproduction in flowering plants involves transformation of diploid sporophytic cells into haploid gametophytic cells by the process of meiosis, of course, and subsequent fusion of these haploid gametes of opposite sex to form again a diploid zygote. So see, the tree that you see of whatever, any flowering plant, mango, wheat, jowar, whatever comes to your mind. All these are going to have sporophytic generation as dominant. I hope you all remember about the plant kingdom that only in bryophytes gametophyte is dominant. Otherwise, pteridophyte, gymnosperms and angiosperms, who is dominant? The sporophyte is dominant. So here also, the sporophyte is dominant and sporophyte is always going to be 2n. You remember this also? So sporophyte is always going to be what? 2n, right? Now this 2n sporophyte के कुछ cells would undergo sporophyte के कुछ cells would undergo meiosis and they will form. मसीरा बेटा आपका mic on है? Yeah. Masira, your mic is on. Yes. So 1 minute. Okay. So where was I? I had to mute her. Okay. So what's going to happen from this diploid sporophytic cells? Some cells will act as MMCs, megaspore mother cells, or microspore mother cells, whatever. Okay. And they will then undergo meiosis to form your 4 haploids by the process of meiosis, of course. Right? Yeah. Then that is the way the definition is going to go ahead. Yeah, what's your doubt? All sexual reproduction or only plants for sexual reproduction is amphimixis? All. In general, sexual reproduction means amphimixis because always wherever there are going to be two gametes and their fusion, amphimixis. Okay. The zygote then develops into an embryo, of course, by the process of mitosis. So embryo is going to be formed. Even in human reproduction, the way we have seen that the embryo will undergo cleavage. Here, there is no particular word called as cleavage associated with plants, but it's going to undergo mitosis to form the embryo, right? Yeah, which ultimately forms a diploid plant body. So the embryo is also 2n, correct? Developed from the zygote, which is 2n, and therefore the entire plant body, that is roots, stem, leaves, flowers, fruits, whatever, like it's going to make, all are going to be your 2n structures, correct? In flowering plants, all these steps of sexual reproduction occur within a specialized reproductive organ called as the flower. So that is the difference between your gymnosperms and angiosperms. Even in gymnosperms, there was fusion of gametes, there was formation of seed, but the seeds were naked in case of gymnosperms. What will happen over here in case of angiosperms? the seeds are going to be formed, but they are going to be formed within an enclosed structure called as the fruit. Why? Because the ovules are going to be found inside the flower, where inside the gynoecium, style, stigma, ovary, carpel, you remember that, right? So the ovule is going to be enclosed within the ovary, and therefore the seeds are going to be enclosed within the fruit. Is the major difference between your non-flowering plants and flowering plants. So in flowering plants, the flower is going to be what? It's a modified shoot for what? The reproduction of the that entire plant species. Okay. So in flowering plants, all these steps, that is formation of haploid gametes, fusion of the two gametes, formation of the embryo, is everything going to take place in a special structure which is going to be called as the flower. Correct? I'm sure that you all are aware of this particular diagram as well. That is going to be, yeah. So here this diagram is right in front of you all. So here we have got the thalamus, right? Then we have got the sepals, calyx, which is made up of sepals, corolla, which is made up of petals. You can see this. This is the corolla made up of petals, right? This is the androecium made up of stamen. You can see the stamens. Stamen will be made up of anther and filament. You can see the anther and you can see the filament. Similarly, this is going to be the gynoecium made up of carpel. Carpel will have stigma, style, and ovary. So you can very well see these ovaries. And inside the ovary, we have got the ovules, which will ultimately get converted into seeds after fertilization, and the ovary will get converted into a fruit after fertilization, right? So these structures are known to us because we have done morphology in detail. Anyone having any difficulty with this particular slide and the content? Anyone who has not followed any part of it? Simple. Flower, which is called as a fascinating organ of angiosperms, of course, it's fascinating. Morphologically, flower is modified shoot meant for sexual reproduction of the plant. Typically, it is condensed branch in which internodes have become condensed. So, if you remember in morphology, we had seen something called as floral leaves, if you do remember. Now, this floral leaves word is not there in your textbooks or any of your, content that is, printed. But when I had sent my PPT to you all, you can look into my PPT again. You can go through it, and you will find this particular, word called as floral leaves. So in modification of leaves, we have seen that there is something called as floral leaves. So what exactly are these floral leaves? Sepal, petal, stamen, and carpel. These all come under your floral leaves. Okay. Now because they are leaves, they are going to be originating from nodes. Because they are leaves, they are going to originate from the nodes. And because they want to originate from the nodes, there is going to be spacing between the two nodes that will be internodes. Agreed? So here what are they saying? That in flower, these internodes have got condensed, means they have got the distance between the internodes बहुत कम हो चुका है, right? So it is in the condensed form is what they are saying. Okay. And the leaves are modified to form the floral whorl that directly or indirectly participate in the event of reproduction. Okay. The flower is commonly borne on a short or long stalk called as the pedicel. Can anyone tell me what is a pedicel? तो मैंने बता दिया, flower का stalk is pedicel. What is a petiole? Can anyone tell me what is a petiole? It is the stalk of what, beta? Petiole is the stalk of what? Come on, answer me. Yes, very nice. Very quick answers I've got from all of you all. Very good, very good. Yes, yes, yes. Petiole is the stalk of the leaf. Very correct. Correct, correct. And yes, I am asking the same, my dear. What is the one more word? So one was petiole, which is the stalk of the leaf. Pericell, which is the stalk of the flower. And what is peduncle? Can anyone tell me what is peduncle? ये भी हमने एक word देखा था. Come on, give me the answers. I'm looking at the chat box. Okay, very, no, it's nothing with ovule. Peduncle, peduncle. Yeah, long and thickest what beta? What is it? It is a snake. Stalk of flower is called as pedicel. See, long or stalk flower. Stalk of flower is pedicel. Who is this? Manan. Very nice, my dear. बिल्कुल सही जवाब है मनन ने सिर्फ मनन ने अकेले ने अभी तक सही आंसर दिया है नो 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 वेरी गुड मनन बहुत बढ़िया बेटा एक्सीलेंट एक्सीलेंट मनन चलो बाकी के लोग गुड मॉर्निंग हो गया कि नहीं सबका वेरी नाइस मनन ओनली वन आंसर यू आर द वन एंड ओनली वन टुडे फॉर यू नो डेयरी मिल्क फ्रॉम मी आज अगर हम लोग का फिजिकल लेक्चर होता तो दूसरा कौन है कोमल को भी एक मिलेगा चलो अरे अभी सबको देना पड़ेगा Parnavi will also get it. Even she has given the right answer. So Komal, Manan, Parnavi have given the right answer till now. others. But सबसे पहले मनन ने दिया तो मनन को मेरी तरफ से आज का डेयरी मिल्क चॉकलेट चलो 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 I want to know what is the meaning of peduncle. See, petiole, stalk of leaf. Pedicel, stalk of flower. Peduncle, stalk of what? हाँ विभा you are also right. Yes my dear, even you are right. विभा is also right. अरे इतने तुम लोग बच्चे बैठते हो क्लास में और बस 4-5 लोग आंसर दे रहे हैं यार चलो 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 क्विकली not associated with fruit no it is not associated with fruit who's this yes Sara Reyes you are right my dear Ashita now you are like correct now you are correct yes, it's going to be the stalk of inflorescence it's the main axis of your inflorescence which is going to be called as your peduncle. You remember racemose type of inflorescence and cymose type of inflorescence. In racemose type of inflorescence, we had seen 10 different types of inflorescence. I had explained 10 different types to you all. Raceme, compound raceme. Umbel, compound umbel. Corym, compound corym. Spike, catkin. Spadix, capitulum. ये 10 हमने उसके टाइप्स देखे थे सब जगह पर हमने क्या देखा था पेडंकल कैसा है और उसके पास पेडिसिलेट फ्लावर्स है कि नॉन पेडिसिलेट फ्लावर्स है या सेसाइल फ्लावर्स है तो ये हमने 10 टाइप्स देखे थे अगर आपको याद नहीं है तो मैंने क्विकली ब्रश अप किया वन मोर टाइम रेसीम कंपाउंड रेसीम व्हिच इज आल्सो कॉल्ड एज पैनिकल अम्बेल कंपाउंड अम्बेल कॉरिम कंपाउंड कॉरिम स्पाइक कैटकिन स्पैडिक्स कैपिटुलम ऐसे 10 हमने देखे थे रेसमोस टाइप के फर्दर क्लासिफिकेशन ठीक है साइमोस टाइप में हमने कितने देखे थे मोनोकेजियल साइन उसमें स्कॉर्पॉइड एंड हेलिकॉइड देखा था बाइकेजियल साइन मल्टीकेजियल साइन ये 3 हमने साइमोस में देखे थे एंड स्पेशलाइज्ड इनफ्लोरेसेंस में वी हैड सीन हाइपेंथोडियम वर्टिसेलेस्टर कुछ याद आ रहा है ऐसा सुना सुना कुछ अभी लग रहा है कैन यू ऑल recollect these things whatever like I'm saying just now and one is your cythium so these 3 we are seen in special type of inflorescence so these were the things in total we had seen 13 different types of inflorescence under 2 main headings racemose and cymose chalo anyway if you can recollect that's fine if not give up brush up दे दो उसको थोड़ा सा so anyways so this is your pedicel then it has upper swollen region which is going to be called as the thalamus or it's also called as the receptacle many a time students remember the word thalamus but they forget the word receptacle so don't forget receptacle means thalamus itself fine हमने ये भी देखा था कि based on the position of the thalamus we have got hypogynous flower perigynous flower and epigynous flower again morphology anyways so sexuality in flowering plants was first described by Camerarius don't forget him this Camerarius is going to be a person who will be asked very frequently there is going to be Navastrin also who is becoming later on उनका भी नाम है तो ये चैप्टर के जो भी साइंटिस्ट में नाम इधर यूज कर रही हूँ ना आपके स्पेशली 12th बोर्ड एग्जाम्स में ये पूछे गए हैं. Okay, so who was the first one to describe sexuality in flowering plants? Okay, it is Cameron. The father of Indian plant embryology is considered as your P. Maheshwari. So Maheshwari is given the title of father of Indian plant embryology. Okay, so I hope these things are simple and easy. Then we go to the next one, that is parts of flower, which is again a revision of your morpho. Still will give it very quick look at. Atypical angiospermic flower consists of four whorls. Which are they? Which are attached to the receptacle or the thalamus, calyx, corolla, and roscium gynoecium. Of these, calyx and corolla are sterile and are considered as non-essential or accessory or helping whorls. They are not going to produce any egg or the male gametes. So we call them as sterile. But they are going to help in attracting the insects, they will help in pollination and so on, and even in protection during the bud condition and all. So they are called as accessory or helping whorls. Androecium and gynoecium are fertile and are considered as essential or reproductive whorls. We know this. Calyx, outermost wall of the flower, composed of leaf-like green sepals. The sepals are essentially green in color, but in some cases they may become colored. Such a condition is called as petaloid sepal actually. Sepals encloses the bud and protects them during the embryonic stage because they will have the delicate parts within them. Okay, calyx. Corolla, this is the second wall of the flower, consists of a number of petals. Petals are generally brightly colored. Sometimes they are going to have certain fragrance, which make the flower to become more attractive. So it's going to help in pollination, attraction of insects especially. Petals usually attract the insect pollinators and help in pollination. The petals and sepals together form the floral envelope called as the perianth, wherein the sepals and petals cannot be distinguished. So we know what is a perianth as well. Anything not followed of this slide? Now these seems to be very simple and easy, right? Because we have already done 11th standard में morphology in detail. So now these things become very, very easy for us to understand. Correct? Okay. Any problem still? I'll move ahead. Androecium is the third wall of the flower. It's the male reproductive organ consisting of stamen. Each stamen is going to be made up of filament and anther. The filament supports anther at its tip. So you know at the tip there is going to be an anther. And if you do remember, we had seen the types of anther also. Something called as adnate, basifix, versatile. याद है ये सारे नाम कि भूल गए? ये हमने types of anthers भी देखे थे बेटा when we had done morphology. You can see my PPT and you can definitely recollect those things. Okay, so there are different types of anthers also which we have seen. So at the tip of the filament there's going to be the anther. Usually anthers are bilobed, having two anther lobes, and they contain four microsporangia, which is also called as pollen sac. So microsporangia को ही हम pollen sac के नाम से भी जानते हैं. But sometimes they have only one lobe and two microsporangia. That means per lobe there are two microsporangia. Fine. The portion of the stamen which connects the anther and the filament is known as the connector, which is going to be, actually connecting the two, so it's called as connector. That's about your androecium. Gynoecium, this is the last and the fourth wall of the flower, and it is also considered as the female reproductive organ of the flower. It occupies the central position on the receptacle and is composed of ovary, style, stigma, and the component parts are going to be called as your carpel, or it's called as pistil. Pistillate, or we call it them as carpel. Ovary encloses the ovules. Stigma is the receptive spot which receives the pollen grain. It is called as the landing stage, ना? तो ये stigma है जिधर pollen grains आकर deposit हो जाते हैं. Style is the connection between stigma and ovary. It's a hollow tube generally through which the pollen tube will pass. Fine. So I guess these things are known to all of you all. Still anyone having any difficulty in this, especially about the microsporangia part? Huh. What's your doubt, beta? It is like, correct, for the polar nucleus. You're right. Okay, easy. Okay, let's move ahead. Functions of the flower. Flowers are modified shoot to perform the function of sexual reproduction. The fertile leaves. See, that's what I was trying to tell you all, that your flower is also considered as a modified leaf. Okay, so the fertile leaves means the androecium and the gynoecium. They become microsporophylls and megasporophylls, that is stamen and carpel, which bear anthers and ovules respectively. So the fertile leaves करके अगर question आता है ना आपकी एग्जाम में, don't get confused. Fertile leaves mean androecium and gynoecium. Okay. Sterile leaves means calyx and corolla, or sepals and petals, whatever the options are going to be. Is it fine? So don't get confused with this word fertile leaves and sterile leaves. Leaves बोलेंगे ना तो हमारे दिमाग में वो अपने ग्रीन कलर के फोटोसिंथेसिस करने वाले लीव्स आ जाते हैं. बट फर्टाइल एंड स्टेराइल लीव्स की जब बात होती है इन केस ऑफ अ फ्लावर, you should know what it is. Fine. Flowers of most of the angiosperms are shaped variously to help diverse modes of pollination. Yeah. So there are different types of flowers which will help in their pollination. Flowers provide seed for germination of pollen, development of pollen tube, formation of gametes, as well as fertilization. The ovary of the carpel gets transformed into the fruit, and the ovules are transformed into the seeds after fertilization. So what we eat as a fruit is a ripened ovary, and what we eat as seeds is a fertilized ovule. Okay. Some floral plants like calyx and various modifications in ovaries help in the dispersal of fruits and seeds. So we have seen something called as pappus, tassels of corn cobs and all, which are helping in the seed dispersal. So they all are modifications. Okay. Any confusion in this slide? ये easy है इसलिए, मतलब ये किया हुआ है इसलिए वो easy लग रहा है हमें, है ना? Okay, fine. So yes, this is going to be your functions of flower. Yeah. Now, what are the pre-fertilization events? And you have to understand the structure of these pre-fertilizing, modifications, and what are the events that are occurring over here. So this is going to be a very important topic. We have divided this into three parts: pre-fertilization, fertilization, and post-fertilization. Okay. So here actually we start with the process of sexual reproduction in the flowering plants. Okay. Much before the actual flower is seen on a plant, the decision that the plant is going to be a flower has taken place. Now, this is the most crucial sentence. Just read it again. Much before the actual flower is seen on the plant. मतलब ये जो plant है वो grow हो रहा है, उधर actual अभी तक flower एक भी flower आया नहीं है. Not a single flower has been being formed on this particular vegetative plant. Okay, but the decision that यहाँ पर flower बनेगा is taken quite long back. बहुत पहले ये decision लिया गया है. Who takes this decision? So see, several hormonal and structural changes are initiated which lead to the differentiation and further development of the floral primordium. आप देखिए बेटा, हमने PGD देखा है पूरा चैप्टर प्लांट ग्रोथ एंड डेवलपमेंट. उसमें do you remember that I had told you all that there is a particular hormone which is hypothesized? It's not proven. It's a hypothesis that this particular hormone is present in the leaf. Leaf is the area which takes up the photoperiod ka signal to activate this particular hormone to reach a particular node and cause these changes. ये hypothesis है उस हार्मोन का नाम. किसी को याद है बेटा वो हार्मोन का नाम क्या है? Which is hypothesized to be the activator of conversion of vegetative bud to floral bud. Excellent, Parnavi. Very good, very good, very good, excellent. God bless you. बिल्कुल सही answer. No, if only Parnavi has given this answer. Come on, others. Come on, come on, come on. Antenna खड़ा करो आपका and try to recollect those things. Excellent. Who is this? Sonali. Wow, 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 wow. Very nice. Very nice. Only two answers correct till now. Sonali and Parnavi. Come on, others. No, it's not auxin. It's not cytokinin. No, no, no. Who else would give this answer? Both of you all are correct, beta. बहुत बढ़िया. Very nice. No one else? What's this? Try तो करो. Wrong तो wrong. जिसके रॉन्ग आंसर्स आते हैं उनके मैं नाम नहीं लेती हूँ, तो इतना टेंशन ना लो बेटा. जिनके आंसर सही है उन्हीं का मैं नाम ले रही हूँ. So why to worry? Even if it's a wrong answer, it's okay. Come on, write down your answers. Yeah, it's incorrect. Auxin is also not correct and cytokinin is also not correct. My question is, which is the hormone which is hypothesized? It is not proven, but it is hypothesized that it is present in the leaves. It takes the photoperiod ka signal and goes to a node to change the vegetative node into a floral node. No, it's not ethylene. It's not GA. No. Very good. Even Viva has given the right answer. Viva, you're right, my dear. Don't put a question mark. Perfectly right. No, it's not ABA. It's not the regular 5. It's not auxin, no cytokinin, no gibberellic acid, no ethylene, no ABA. Who's this? Arya. Very good, Arya. Yes, my dear. Even you're right. Yeah, so at least 3, 4, 5 answers have got it correct. The name of that hormone is florigen. Yes, yes. Neha Singh also has given the answer. It's florigen. Yes, it's florigen. Okay. So this florigen is considered to be present in the leaves. And you remember something called as PR and PFR that we had seen in photoperiodism. Sorry, Sneha Sharma, I'm sorry. What happens now? Here your WAO01NE16 Sneha and then S. Only I can see that much. I can't, read Sharma है या Singh है. इसलिए वो है ना, तो इसलिए वो रीडिंग में सिर्फ एस दिखाई देता है. एंड कोइंसिडेंटली बोथ ऑफ योर सरनेम्स आर स्टार्टिंग विद एस. Okay, fine, yeah. So so you know what, that PR and PFR that we had done na, PR and PFR we had done. See, your phytochrome red and phytochrome far red. याद है कुछ? PGD, plant growth and development. हाँ, ओके. तो ये जो प्लांट ग्रोथ एंड डेवलपमेंट में जो हमने देखा था ना, उसको थोड़ा सा रिकलेक्ट करो बेटा. तो देखो ये फ्लावर बनने वाला है ये प्लांट पे, ये कैसे डिसाइड होता है उसकी बात कर रही हूँ मैं. ठीक है. सो फोटोपीरियोडिज्म इज द एक्सपोजर ऑफ सनलाइट on the leaves which is associated with flowering. I told you all, photosynthesis is associated with food formation and photoperiodism is associated with flowering. You remember this? Yes. Now imagine ये green leaf है अपना, है ना. ये green leaf जब mature हो जाता है ना, तब इसमें फ्लोरिजन बनने को start होता है. Fine. And it is going to have your phytochromes. Now what will happen? Depending upon the PR and PFR, I guess you remember this particular thing, that PR gets decomposed to PFR during the daytime and during the night the PFR will again become PR. ये हमने पूरा साइकिल देखा था PR PFR का. अगर याद है तो अच्छी बात है, नहीं याद है तो प्लीज एक बार उसको रिवाइज कर लेना. ठीक है. अब क्या होता है बेटा, because of this PR and PFR, okay, depending upon the LDP, SDP or DNP, accordingly the signals will be given, है ना. Accordingly, the signals will be given. That particular phytochrome will give a signal to the hormone called as फ्लोरिजन. कहाँ है ये सब, कहाँ हो रहा है, ये सारा अपने लीफ में हो रहा है. Okay, now the floragen will get activated, and as the floragen get activated, it is going to move to the developing or the growing points, which we call it as nodes. Correct. Now जहाँ जिस जगह ये फ्लोरिजन जिस नोड पे जाके पहुंच जाएगा, वो नोड will get, you know, converted into a floral node. Means the meristematic cells present at that particular node would develop would develop calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium instead of developing a leaf or a branch. Understand this? Okay. So in this way, before the actual flower is seen in this particular plant, the decision that this particular flower has to develop at this particular node is taken, you know, long back. बहुत पहले ये डिसीजन लिया जाता है. समझ में आया? और कैसे लिया जाता है? तो हॉर्मोन्स है, जैसे कि फ्लोरोजन है और हमारा फाइटोक्रोम है, जो कुछ स्ट्रक्चरल चेंजेस इनिशिएट कर देता है, which will cause the differentiation of that particular leaves to get converted into floral leaves and not into your vegetative leaves. How beautiful the mechanism is. Just try to, you know, understand the fact of it, rather than understanding it from the exam point of view or your you know, syllabus point of view. Just try to understand. You can see so many flowers around you. Have you all ever thought about it कि इधर ही flower क्यों आया? Never ना. अपने को क्या करना है ना? You don't even look at the flowers also. You are so busy in your own world, in your mobile. Huh? When you're traveling also, you don't want to look outside. You want to just put your head into your mobile and, you know, play with it. But if you try to look at it now, then you might have never even thought till today ki why the flower is there at this particular place. I'm sure no one had thought about it. But now you can give it a thought. Because ultimately, flowers are going to get converted into fruits and you're going to get mangoes only after that. Okay? You might have seen mango के flowers तो देखे हैं कि नहीं? वो भी नहीं देखे हैं, yellow color वाले. Have you all seen mango flowers? If you have seen, that's good. In Marathi, we call it आंब्याचा मोहर. है ना? तो वो जो होता है ना, वो एकदम भर भर के वो पूरे येलो कलर के फ्लावर्स निकल आते हैं. तो why only that particular, you know, flowers are going to be, right? What yeah, in 10th standard entrance was given a book and there was a question mark. Today I got the answer. You got the answer na? Yeah, my dear. So this is what is the beauty, you know. You get, like, when you go into the depth of these things, it becomes all the more beautiful. See how beautiful the things are. Correct? So in this way, the floral primordium will be initiated by certain hormones and certain structural changes initiated by these hormones. Okay? So, huh, all these flowers are easily plucked, and but now we know that's so essential and so difficult for the plant to make it. Yes, it is actually better. Okay? So, inflorescence is formed which bear the floral buds and then the flowers. Okay? So, in this way, your entire floral world is going to be, you know, made. Now, you got the answer to that, that why young plants do not develop flowers. Why only after getting mature they make the flowers? You got the answer to that as well. Because young plants के leaves जो है ना, उनमें अभी तक ना फाइटोक्रोम बनाने का कैपेसिटी आया है, ना फ्लोरोजन बनाने का कैपेसिटी आया है. So when they become mature, only then they will be able to make these, and only when they make these, there will be a decision to form the flowers, and therefore vegetative shoots will not have flowers on it. Okay, got it? Well, so we go to the structure of the anther. Now this is something new and this is important as well. When your board exams, you will be asked to describe the structure of anther, a question which will be given for 3 marks, in which you will have to draw the diagram of the walls of the anther as well, which you will be seeing right now. So बेटा ये जो मैं बता रही हूँ ना बीच बीच में ये बोर्ड एग्जाम्स के लिए क्या आएगा करके, काइंडली मेक अ नोट ऑफ इट, बिकॉज व्हेन यू विल स्टडी फॉर योर बोर्ड एग्जाम्स देन यू शुड नॉट बी लॉस्ट कि मुझे क्या क्यों पढ़ना है कितना पढ़ना है एंड ऑल. So structure of answer is asked as a question for 3 marks, wherein you will have to write down some content and you will have to draw a diagram supporting your answer as well. Because bio may always your, they write a note, draw diagrams wherever necessary. So they don't specifically say with a neat and label diagram. Some questions do have that particular thing, but otherwise एक standard sentence होता है board papers में. Draw neat and label diagram wherever necessary. So for structure of answer, 3 mark का question है. You are expected to draw the diagram for it. Which diagram आएगा आगे? Okay. So a stamen consists of 2 parts, filament and the anther. The proximal end of the filament is attached to the thalamus or the petal present on the flower. The fertile portion of stamen is called as anther. Fertile क्या होता है बेटा? Fertile का मतलब है the one which is going to produce the gametes is going to be called as your fertile portion. So the fertile portion of stamen is going to be called as anther. Each anther is usually made of 2 lobes, therefore we call it as bilobe, which is connected by a connective. In turn, each lobe contains 2 pollen chambers, microsporangia, placed longitudinally. एक के नीचे एक के ऊपर, ऐसा ऊपर नीचे होते हैं, longitudinally होते हैं. Each pollen chamber represents a microsporangium and is filled with a number of pollen grains, also called as microspores. A typical anther of 4 microsporangia, called as tetrasporangiate actually, and such anthers are called as dithecous or it could be bithecous, one and the same. Example, mostly plants. Most of the plants are going to have tetrasporangiate dithecous anther. Tetra means 4. Sporangiate means sporangium के sac या pollen sac. तो 4 pollen sac इसलिए tetrasporangiate and 2 lobes है इसलिए dithecous या bithecous, whatever, both are correct. Okay. Often a longitudinal groove runs lengthwise between representing the theca. तो 2 जो anther lobes होते हैं उनके बीच में एक longitudinal lengthwise एक फिलामेंट के जैसा होता है, एक बैंड के जैसा होता है, which will be called as your theca. Okay, so just like our have you all started with nervous system? Brain start किया है बेटा सर ने आपके साथ? Neural. Okay, so when sir will start with neural na, that time he will tell you that how the 2 hemispheres of the brain are attached with a common band of connective tissue called as corpus callosum. So जैसे ये corpus callosum होता है जो दोनों hemispheres of the brain को पकड़ के रखता है together और दोनों brain के hemispheres को coordinate करता है. Okay, that's called as your corpus callosum. वैसे ही ये 2 anther lobes को पकड़ के रख के उनको coordinate करने वाला होता है theca. Fine. Okay, so that is the structure of our anther. Okay, so yeah, the anther is 4-sided, that is, it is tetragonal structure consisting of 4 microsporangia located at the corners, 2 in each lobe. In this particular diagram, you can see it very clearly. See, ये देखो, ये 1, ये 2, ये 3 और ये 4. ऐसे 4 lobes होते हैं बेटा. 4 lobes बोल रही हूँ, 4 pollen sac होते हैं, which will eventually merge together. So ये जो एक anther lobe है pair और ये एक pair of anther lobe, देखो 1, 2 ये एक lobe है, 1, 2 ये दूसरा lobe है. तो ऐसे 2 lobes एक दूसरे के साथ attached है और हर एक में 2 pollen sac है. Okay, so you can see there are 2 pollen sac. Okay, you can see there are 2 pollen sac. Fine, and इन दोनों के बीच में ये जो एक लॉन्जिट्यूडनल लाइन जो जा रही है ना, दिस इज गोइंग टू बी कॉल्ड एज योर थीटा। ये देखो, ये वाली जो सेंटर से इधर जा रही है, वो जिसने ये दोनों को पकड़ के रखा है। ओके, the microsporangia develops further and becomes pollen sac. So this is going to be a typical anther. This is a basifex anther. These are going to be your two lobes. You can see one anther lobe and this is the second anther lobe. Okay, and when you open this or when you cut this, you see this type of a section. Okay, then we come to the structure of your anther and the microsporangium as well. So the pollen sacs are surrounded by four layers. So microsporangium की ये जो sac है, it is going to be having four walls around it. Four layers, which is also called as anther wall. ठीक है? So which are the four layers that make up the anther wall? First is epidermis. It is outermost single layer and it is protective in function. Now let me tell you, all these layers are parenchyma layers. All these layers are made up of parenchyma. Okay, so the epidermis, outermost single layer. Single layer means it is going to be only one layered thick. एक सिंगल लेयर्ड थिक होता है, इसका थिकनेस कितना होता है? सिंगल लेयर्ड थिकनेस होता है इसका, किसका? एपिडर्मिस का. फाइन. Of course, as we know, what is the function of epidermis? Protection. Below the epidermis lies the endothecium. It is not endodermis. What is the word over here? Endothecium. Please be careful. Don't mess with the words. Even in the options, they will give you एंडोडर्मिस. आप लोग मस्त एंडोडर्मिस मार्क करके आओगे. एपिडर्मिस के नीचे एंडोडर्मिस नहीं, it's not endodermis. What is it? Endothecium. So what is endothecium? We have to see in detail. The endothecium lies inner to the epidermis. It's made up of a single layer of radially elongated cells. So even epidermis is single layered. Even endothecium is single layered. And it is radially elongated cells. So ये जो cells हैं ये कैसे होते हैं? Elongated होते हैं, long cells होते हैं. And how are they different from the epidermis? See, cells of endothecium develop fibrous thickening made up of cellulose with a little bit of pectin and lignin, which help in the dehiscence of anther. तो ये सेलुलोज, पेक्टिन एंड लिग्निन से बने हुए इसके वॉल्स होते हैं, किसके? एंडोथीशियम के. एंड विच हेल्प ड्यूरिंग द dehiscence of the anther. Dehiscence is, you know what is dehiscence? Rupturing. Okay, so unless and until the anther does not rupture, does not tear off, the pollen grains cannot be dispersed. So for dispersal of the pollen grains, what is required? वो एंथर लोब को फटना चाहिए. तो उसको फटने के लिए वो कैसे भी नहीं फट सकता है. इट कैन नॉट टेयर ऑफ द वे इट वांट्स टू. इट विल ओनली टेयर ऑफ थ्रू दीज endothelial layers. Therefore, in the previous diagram, we have seen that there is something called as line of dehiscence. Did you all see this in this diagram? देखा आपने? ये देखो. See, line of dehiscence. So it is going to rupture only through this particular area. Why only this particular area? Because there is going to be this lignin, pectin and cellulose ka endothecium. Okay. So in between these cells, a few cells without the thickenings are also present. These thick walled cells collectively form the stomium. So thick walled cells made up of cellulose, pectin and lignin, together we call them as stomium. ठीक है, कोई डाउट है एपिडर्मिस एंड एंडोथीशियम में? ये चार में से दो हमने देखे, अभी दो बचे हुए हैं. ये दो समझ में आ गए हैं? Anyone who has not understood any part of this? Clear? We'll move ahead. Sure, fine. The third layer is going to be called as the middle layer. 3 to 4 layers of thin walled cells situated just below the endothelium are called as middle layers. Now see my dears, epidermis was single layered, endothelium was single layered, but middle layer is going to be around 2 to 3 layers or 3 to 4 layers thick. मतलब क्या हो गया, मिडिल लेयर्स मल्टी लेयर्ड है ना, 3 या 4 लेयर थिकनेस है उनका, ठीक है. And why are they multi layered? See, but the cells are thin. Now here pay attention, here they catch you. The endothelium cells are single layered but they are thick, while middle layer cells are multi layered but they are thin. So this is the way, they will twist the questions and they would ask you. So be very careful with where is thick and where is thin, who is single layer, who is multi layered. Okay. Cells of this layer are ephemeral. Ephemeral means temporary, and they degenerate to provide nourishment to the growing microspore mother cell. So ये जो middle layer के cells है ना, ये persistent नहीं है, ये temporary होते हैं और वो degenerate होते जाते हैं eventually with the intention क्या कि developing microspore mother cells को nourishment मिले. Okay. So middle layer is multi-layered, thin walled, ephemeral. ये 3 points आपको याद रखने हैं. Look at the fourth layer. Fourth layer is going to be called as tapetum, not tapetum. It's called as tapetum. Okay. This is the innermost layer of the wall. The cells are multinucleate as they undergo endopolyploidy and they are polyploid. Now look at these two words. Firstly, what do you mean by polyploid? Poly means many. Ploidy means number of sets of chromosomes. So this particular tapetal cells would have several sets of chromosomes. जैसे हमारे में 2 sets of chromosomes होते हैं, हमारे cells में 2 sets of chromosomes होते हैं ना बेटा, one given by mother, one given by father, correct? But here in the tapetal cells there would be 4, 6, 10 multiple sets of chromosomes होते हैं. किसमें? tapetum के cells में. So it is polyploid and it is endopolyploid. Endopolyploid means the nucleus is intact and in one nucleus only there will be several copies of the chromosomes. Plus they are multinucleate also. इसका मतलब समझो, हाँ, इसको अच्छी तरह से समझ लेना बेटा. This is one cell. This one cell should have one nucleus and this one nucleus should have 2 sets of chromosome in a normal condition like you and me. One cell having one nucleus, each nucleus having 2 sets of chromosome like you and me. But in tapetal cell what happens? One cell, many nuclei. So multinucleate. Each nucleus, many sets of chromosome. So polyploid. And because there are many chromosomes present in each nucleus, it is called as endopolyploid. Did you all understand the 2 words? What is multinuclear and what is polyploid condition with endopolyploidy? Anyone who has not understood this, one more time I am repeating. Normal cell, one nucleus. One nucleus with 2 sets of chromosomes is a normal cell. Tapetal cell, one cell, many nuclei. So multinucleate. Each nuclei, many sets of chromosomes. So polyploid. And because the nucleus is intact, it is called as endopolyploid. Clear about this? Tapetal cells provide nourishment to the developing pollen grain. In these cells, now see. Please understand. Middle layer was also providing nourishment. Tapetum is also providing nourishment. But the middle layer was providing nourishment to the MMCs, microspore mother cells. While tapetum is going to provide nourishment to the pollen grains. Means after the meiosis has taken place, there will be formation of the pollen grains. पोलन ग्रेन्स को नरिश करने के लिए टपेटम है, और मियोसिस होने के पहले जो मदर सेल्स हैं उनको नरिशमेंट प्रोवाइड करने वाला मिडिल लेयर्स है। समझ में आ रही है बात? तो यहाँ पर है ना बेटा, ऐसे मार्क्स चले जाते हैं आपके। आपको लगता है हाँ नरिशमेंट ये भी दे रहा है ये भी दे रहा है, बट क्वेश्चन क्या पूछा है? इफ दे हैव आस्क्ड यू नरिशमेंट फॉर द एमएमसीज, योर आंसर विल बी मिडिल लेयर। इफ दे आस्क यू नरिशमेंट फॉर द डेवलपिंग पोलन ग्रेन्स, योर आंसर विल बी टपेटम। ये छोटी छोटी चीजें हैं, बट इधर ही मार्क्स चले जाते हैं, because generally we don't read between the lines. This is called as reading between the lines. So be very careful. Okay, fine. So this is actually, I'm spoon feeding you all. I should not do this, but kya karu? I love you all so much na. So rather than you all not reading and losing marks, it's better that I tell you so that at least now you don't lose marks. Huh? So be careful, be careful. Nourishment of the MMC, middle layer. Nourishment of the pollen grain, tapetum. Fix. And then check. Fine. Now, look at the third point of the tapetum. In these cells, the Ubish bodies are present which help in ornamentation of microspore wall. अब ये जो microspores होते हैं, ये जो pollen grains होते हैं ना बेटा, they may be smooth, they may have spines, they may be rough, they may be ribbon-like, they may be star shape. तो इनके जो अलग अलग शेप्स और साइजेस बनाते हैं ना, वो कौन बनाता है? तो यूबिश बॉडीज करके कुछ बॉडीज होते हैं ये अपने पोलन ग्रेन में, जिसके वजह से ये ऑर्नामेंटलाइजेशन होता है उसका। मीन्स अलग अलग शेप्स, अलग अलग स्ट्रक्चर्स पोलन ग्रेन के ऊपर, मतलब उसके आउटर वॉल में दिखाई देते हैं। ओके, so don't forget this word Ubish bodies. So Ubish bodies कहाँ होते हैं? They are going to be present in the pollen grains के tapetal cells, which are going to help in making these ornamentation of the walls of the pollen grain. ठीक है? A compound called as sporopollenin, the most important word of your entire this chapter is sporopollenin. So a compound called as sporopollenin is secreted in the exine of microspore wall by the tapetum. अब ये जो पोलन ग्रेन है, ये पोलन ग्रेन के ऊपर भी वॉल है, और ये पोलन ग्रेन के ऊपर के वॉल में एक ऐसा केमिकल बनता है जिसका नाम है स्पोरोपोलेनिन। और ये कौन बनाता है स्पोरोपोलेनिन? टपेटम। तो टपेटम के 4 मेजर फंक्शंस है। फर्स्ट आगे भी आने वाले हैं। तो मेन क्या है? नरिशमेंट टू द डेवलपिंग पोलन ग्रेन्स। सेकंड क्या है बेटा? मेकिंग यूबिश बॉडीज so that the pollen wall will get ornamentalized. Fine. Third क्या है? It is going to secrete sporopollenin, which is going to be the component of the outer wall of the pollen grain. So pollen grain is going to have 2 walls, exine and intine. तो जो exine है, outer वाला है, उसका composition है sporopollenin, और ये sporopollenin कौन बनाता है? tapetum. इधर तक समझ में आया सबको? Epidermis, endothelium, middle layers, tapetum. Any doubts till here? Come on. Look at the content of the slide and tell me if anyone is having any difficulty with these particular 4 words. Epidermis, endothelium, middle layer and tapetum. Anyone who has not understood anything, please. Understood? Everything till now? Great. Okay. Now, this tapetum is going to be of 2 types. One is amoeboidal tapetum and second is secretory tapetum. Now, what is the difference between them? Amoeboidal tapetum or periplasmodial tapetum. In young condition, cell walls of the tapetal cells break. Okay. So, protoplast of these cells become free between the microspore mother cell and form a mass of tapetal periplasmodium. For example, ये जो एमेबॉइडल होता है उसमें क्या होता है, ये पेरिप्लाज्मोडियल होता है उसमें क्या होता है बेटा, कि ये जो सेल्स है ये जब यंग होते हैं ना तो बर्स्ट ओपन होते हैं, दे एक्चुअली बर्स्ट ओपन। ओके, और ये सेल के अंदर का जो भी कंटेंट है ना, जो भी कंटेंट है ना ये फ्री हो गया अब, और ये एमएमसी के बीच बीच में जाकर अपने आप को लॉन्च कर देता है। ठीक है, समझ में आ गई बात? फाइन। सो दिस इज कॉल्ड एज योर अमेबॉइडियल या प्लाज्मोडियल। जैसे कि वो ये मिलता है ना, हैव यू ऑल ईटन काजू चिक्की, ड्राई फ्रूट चिक्की मिलती है, देखा है आपने? वो लोनावला की चिक्की एकदम फेमस है, देखिए आपने? तो उसमें कैसे होता है, काजू भी आपको दिखाई देता है और दो काजू के बीच में आपको वो गुड़ का ये भी दिखाई देता है, गुड़ एंड शक्कर का, वी कॉल इट एज व्हाट वी कॉल इट एज पाक एक्चुअली, वो भी दिखाई देता है। हैव यू ऑल सीन दैट? हाउ डज इट लुक लाइक? सो फ्रॉम ऑल साइड द काजू इज कवर्ड विद द शुगर एंड द जैगरी सिरप, और वो फिर थिक हो जाता है। दैट इज योर पेरिप्लाज्मोडियल टपेटम। So tapetal के cells burst open हो जाएंगे and the content will go and surround the microspore mother cells. Got it? Fine. So just like a चिक्की वाला feeling जो आप imagine कर पा सकते हो, इसलिए मैंने वो example दिया आपको, right? And the second is what? Glandular tapetum or secretory. This is most common type of tapetum which remains in situ, and it's going to be as such throughout its life. तो ये burst open नहीं होगा, ये burst open नहीं होगा, ये जो tapetal cells है ना वो intact रहेंगे. And what will happen? See, the tapetal cells will keep on secreting nourishment, which will be keep on which will keep on being passed to the sporogenous cells. Fine. So this tapetum attains its maximum development at the stage of pollen tetrads and then degenerates. So here they won't burst open, they'll remain intact, and continuously whatever they are synthesizing, whatever they are secreting will be percolating out, which will be given to the developing structures. So one is glandular and one is periplasmodial. Periplasmodial will burst open while glandular will remain intact. समझ में आई बात? कोई डिफिकल्टी है बेटा इसको समझने में? टू टाइप्स ऑफ tapetum. These two things are not there in your textbooks, but questions have been asked in your competitive exams based on these two. So these have been included. So I hope you all have followed this as well. Anyone having any difficulty till now? Periplasmodial and glandular में कोई difficulty है? Amoeboidal secretory? No? Very good. If there are no doubts, then it's nice. Yeah. So whatever I have explained, I'm going to talk about it. मैंने आपको बताया था कि आपको बोर्ड एग्जाम में explain the structure of anther के लिए diagram draw करने पड़ेंगे. So these are the diagrams that you're ought to draw. So this is your bilobed structure. You can see this is one anther lobe and this is another anther lobe. Correct? Each lobe are having two microsporangia or two pollen sacs. So this is first pollen sac, second pollen sac of this lobe, and this is the first pollen sac and second pollen sac of this lobe, right? Here you can see that this is the connective, which is connecting the two together, okay? Look at the layers. This is the epidermis, then we have got the endothelium, then we have got the middle layer, and then we have got the tapetum, okay? So this is going to be your tapetum. And ये जो center में है, this is going to be your sporogenous tissue, which will eventually form MMCs, which will then form pollen grains. ठीक है, समझा? तो देखिए बेटा, there is one huge tree. On that tree, there is one flower. In that one flower, we have got calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. In that androecium, we are focusing on one stamen. That one stamen will have anther and filament. When we focus on one anther, it is going to be bilobed structure having tetrasporangia. When we focus on the structure of this anther, we get to see there is epidermis, endothelium, middle layer, and tapetum. And at the center of the tapetum lies the sporogenous tissue. This sporogenous tissue के कुछ cells, not all, कुछ cells, so some cells of the sporogenous tissues will eventually develop as microspore mother cells. Those which develop as microspore mother cells would undergo meiosis. And when they undergo meiosis, they will form tetrads or four haploids. These tetrads or four haploids would be called as pollen grains. इधर तक की कहानी समझी, right? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it's the same almost. Yeah, you want me to explain the last line, beta? Sorry, I didn't see your comment. The tapetum attains its maximum development at this stage of the pollen tetrad. Huh. So what will happen in glandular type when the pollen grains are going to get matured simultaneously? Even the tapetal cells will become matured, and once the pollen grains are completely done, pollen tetrad जैसे ही बन जाते हैं, then the nourishing tissue, that is the tapetal tissue, will go on degenerating. The meaning of that particular line, last sentence. Okay, got it? Because now the pollen grains will be liberated. So tapetum बच के क्या फायदा है? tapetum का काम हो गया, pollen grain पूरा नरिश होके तैयार है, अब वो डिस्पर्स हो जाएगा, इसीलिए. ठीक है? Yeah. Okay. So when we zoom out a section of this particular anther, we can see very clearly that this is the epidermis, which is single layered. You can see this. Epidermis is single layered, made up of parenchyma, of course. Then you can see over here, the second layer is endothelium. See, this is the endothelium. This is the second layer, which is endothelium, which is also single layered. Endothelium and epidermis में क्या फर्क है? Endothelium will have cellulose, pectin, and lignin, and they will form the line of dehiscence, जहाँ से ये pollen फटेगा to disperse the pollen grains. Okay, that is the difference between epidermis and endothelium. So this is going to be your second layer is endothelium. Middle layer is, as I said, 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 layered thick. So 1, 2, 3. ये देखो, ये सारे middle layers है यहाँ पर. ये middle layers है. They are multi-layered, right? ये multi-layered cells जो है, they are going to provide nourishment to the MMCs. Correct? Yeah. And here you can see the tapetal cells. So this is your tapetum. Okay? Tapetum जो है, it is going to be multinucleate, and every nucleus will have many number of chromosomes. And the main function is going to be what? The main function is going to be nourishment of the pollen grains. Okay? Plus tapetal cells are going to synthesize what? As I said just now, sporopollenin and Ubish bodies for the pollen grain development. And here at the center would be your sporogenous tissue, which is ultimately going to be leading to the formation of pollen grains. Fine. This is a matured pollen. The walls remain the same, as you can see, right? But these two pollen sacs have merged together because the middle layer has degenerated. Middle layer is ephemeral, as we said. So it has got degenerated. So the two pollen sacs have got, they have literally merged together. And after they have merged together, from here the endothelium has torn off. फट गया endothelium, line of dehiscence के वजह से. And now the pollen grains will be liberated outside. So this is the diagram which you have to draw in your exam 1, 2, and 3 with the correct labeled diagram, correct labels, neat and labeled diagram. So have you all understood the diagram very nicely? Anyone who is having any difficulty in understanding any of the diagrams over here? Come on, tell me. ये देखो, ये जो दिख रहा है ना आपको इधर, this is going to be your connective, जो ये दोनों को connect कर रहा है, ये वाला part. Okay? चल, बताओ बेटा, quickly बोलो, कुछ difficulty है तो. Look at it. Look at the diagram very nicely. No doubts. Okay. Yeah. Now we come to a process called as microsporogenesis. That is formation of the pollen grains. Now, my dears, this is a part of your plant kingdom also, and this is a part of your sexual reproduction and flowering glands also. There also we had seen that pollen grains were formed and male gametes were formed and all, but here we are going to talk into the details of how this pollen grains are going to be actually formed. Fine. So can I go ahead with this microsporogenesis? Still, whatever I have made you all understand, have you all followed it perfectly? Anyone is having any difficulty with the content that we have done till now today? No, na? Okay. Let's go ahead with microsporogenesis. Now, this is a very beautiful phenomena and very easy if you pay attention. Okay. The process of the formation and differentiation of microspores, also called as pollen grains, from your microspore mother cell, abbreviated as MMC, by reductional division, that is meiosis, is called as microsporogenesis. So this particular definition comes for 1 mark. Define microsporogenesis. 1 mark question in your board exams. Define microsporogenesis. How you will explain the process of the formation and the differentiation of microspores from microspore mother cell by reductional division is called as microsporogenesis. Okay, this is the way you will define. The young anther consists of homogeneous mass of parenchymatous cells surrounded by epidermis, which we saw just now. It soon becomes four-lobed. Okay. In each of the four lobes, some of the hypodermal cells begin to act as archosporial initials. अच्छा, अब जो है ना, ये जो कंटेंट है, अगेन आई एम सेइंग, ये जो कंटेंट है ये आपके बुक्स में नहीं है और क्वेश्चंस भर भर के आपके एग्जाम्स में आते रहते हैं, इसलिए इसको बहुत अच्छी तरह से समझ लेना बेटा। ये जो है ना, ये हम पूरे डिटेल में देख रहे हैं कि ये पूरा का पूरा माइक्रोस्पोर कैसे कहाँ से बॉर्न होने को स्टार्ट हो रहा है। ओके, तो एक फ्लावर है, फ्लावर के अंदर एंड्रोशियम कैसे बनता है, ये कहानी है वो। फाइन, सो पे अटेंशन। Young anther will be having homogeneous mass of parenchyma cells surrounded by epidermis. Okay, soon becomes four lobes, actually 2 lobes and 4 microsporangia इसका meaning है। Each of the 4 will have some hypodermal cells to begin this particular journey, as they act as archosporial cells. Each archosporial initial will divide into outer primary parietal cell and an inner primary sporogenous cell. Parietal means outside. You know this. Okay. And inner जो होता है उसको हम क्या कहते हैं generally? You have studied about the kidneys. तो parietal and, come on, tell me. Inner layer को हम क्या कहते हैं? 2 लेयर होते हैं, outer and inner. Outer को हम लोग parietal कहते हैं, inner को हम लोग क्या कहते हैं? Visceral, exactly. तो जैसे कि हमारे भी पूरे बॉडी में, you take any example, lungs ले लो, kidney ले लो, you take any example. Parietal and visceral कैसे होते हैं ना? In the same way, here also, these hypodermal cells will divide into 2 group of cells. Outer would be called as parietal and inner, instead of saying it as visceral, because visceral is a word associated with animals, here we use the word sporogenous. ठीक है, समझ में आ गई बात? तो सबसे पहले कौन से सेल्स होते हैं? आर्केस्पोरियल इनिशियल्स। अब देखो बेटा, आर्केस्पोरियल ये वर्ड सुनते ही हमारे दिमाग में है ना फीमेल आ जाता है कुछ। नो, archosporial, because archegonium is female reproductive structures seen in the lower plants, right? So arche ये word आते ही दिमाग में और दिल में क्या आता है? This is associated with females. No, here archosporial cells is associated with both males also and females also in case of plants. फ्लावरिंग प्लांट्स. ओके, सो ये जो एंथर है, ये यंग एंथर है. ये यंग एंथर के कुछ सेल्स है सेंटर में, जिनको हम कहते हैं आर्केस्पोरियल इनिशियल्स. ये आर्केस्पोरियल इनिशियल्स विल डिवाइड बाय माइटोसिस टू गिव राइज टू टू ग्रुप ऑफ सेल्स, आउटर पैराइटल एंड इनर स्पोरोजेनिस. कुछ समझ में आ रही है बात की नहीं? फ्लावर है, फ्लावर में यंग एंथर है. यंग एंथर के 4 वॉल्स अभी तक बने नहीं है. एक आउटर लेयर बना है विच इज कॉल्ड एज द एपिडर्मिस, और बीच में जो मास ऑफ सेल्स है उसको हम कहते हैं हाइपोडर्मल सेल्स. ओके, ये हाइपोडर्मल सेल्स डिवाइड होंगे टू फॉर्म आउटर लेयर एंड इनर लेयर. ओके, एंड ये जो आउटर लेयर ऑफ आर्केस्पोरियल इनिशियल्स होंगे उनको हम कहेंगे आउटर प्राइमरी पैराइटल एंड इनर प्राइमरी स्पोरोजेनिस. कुछ समझ में आ रही है बात? एग्जैक्टली. नाउ द प्राइमरी parietal means outside वाले, will divide to form 3 to 4 layers, that is endothecium, middle layers, tapetum. ये सारे किसका प्रोडक्ट है? ये सारे कौन से सेल्स का प्रोडक्ट है? पैराइटल सेल्स का प्रोडक्ट है, बाहर वाले सेल्स का प्रोडक्ट है. और जो अंदर वाले सेल्स है, व्हाट वर दे कॉल्ड एज? They were called as primary sporogenous. So primary sporogenous cells will undergo cell division to produce a mass of sporogenous cells, also called as microsporocytes. So microspores कहाँ से originate होते हैं बेटा? Microspores will originate from the sporogenous cells, which will arise from the primary sporogenous initial cells of your archesporia. ठीक है, आई नो ये थोड़ा सा आपको कैच करना पड़ेगा जो मैं कहने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ. मैं अगेन रिपीट करूंगी ये प्रोसेस, डोंट वरी, बट ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस. ओके, दिस इज अ यंग एंथर, राइट? दिस यंग एंथर is not yet differentiated to form endothecium, middle layer, कुछ नहीं बना है इसमें. Okay, it is still in the maturing form. Fine, so it has got only 2 layers. One layer which is differentiated to form epidermis, and inner layer which is a mass of cells which is called as hypodermal cells. Okay, now these hypodermal cells will undergo cell division to form outer parietal archesporal and inner sporogenous archesporal cells. Okay, parietal will further divide to form middle layer, tapetum and endothecium, and जो बचे हुए inner sporogenous है ना, they will divide to form your sporogenous tissue, or we can call it as microsporocyte. समझ में आ गई बात? है कोई डिफिकल्टी अभी भी? Come on, look at it and tell me if you have got any difficulty. This is very important point, very important. We are going into quite details of microsporogenesis. Got this? Got this, all of you all, my dears? Okay. Differentiation. Which differentiation? See, they are saying that some of the hypodermal cells begin to act as archesporal initials. Each archesporal initial will divide into outer primary and inner primary sporogenous cell, not tissue. Primary sporogenous cell. The primary parietal cell will then divide to form 3 to 4 walls, 3 to 5 layers, which will form endothecium, middle layer and tapetum. Okay, while the primary sporogenous cell will now further divide to form the sporogenous tissue, which is going to give rise to your microspores. Okay, got it? Understood now? So see, the young anther consists of homogeneous mass of parenchyma cells surrounded by epidermis. So epidermis already differentiated है, लेकिन उसके अंदर का ये जो होमोजेनस मास है ना पैरेन्काइमा का, वो अभी तक डिफरेंशिएट हुआ नहीं है बेटा. तो वो डिफरेंशिएट होने के लिए दो टाइप ऑफ सेल्स काम में आएंगे, parietal and sporogenous. Parietal cell will divide to form the three different types of layers, and sporogenous cell will divide to form your sporogenous tissue, जिसमें से microspores बनेंगे. Got it now? Okay? Yeah. Each microspore mother cell divides meiotically to form four haploid microspores or pollen grains, and they remain arranged in tetrads. Tetrads means they will be, all four haploids will be held together. They'll be attached together always initially. The arrangement of pollen grain in tetrads is affected by cytokinases during meiosis. The way the cytokinases will progress, in that particular form, the four haploids would be arranged. Okay? Each cell of sporogenous tissue is capable of giving rise to a microspore tetrad. Each cell of the sporogenous tissue is capable. तो sporogenous tissue कहाँ से बना बेटा? Sporogenous cell से. Sporogenous cell किसका प्रोडक्ट है? आर्केस्पोरियल इनिशियल का प्रोडक्ट है, राइट? सो आर्केस्पोरियल इनिशियल दो सेल्स में डिवाइड हुआ, पैराइटल एंड स्पोरोजेनस, करेक्ट? पैराइटल ने लेयर्स बनाए, एंडोथीशियम, मिडिल लेयर एंड टपेटम, और स्पोरोजेनस सेल ने बनाया स्पोरोजेनस टिश्यू. ये स्पोरोजेनस टिश्यू के एवरी सेल is capable of giving rise to a microspore tetrad, means each cell will be having the capacity to undergo meiosis to give rise to four haploids. Okay, got this clear up till here? How the pollen grains have been formed, have you all understood this? Okay, now this particular process of tetrad formation is going to be of two types. दैट इज साइटोकाइनेसिस कैसे हो रहा है? तो दो टाइप में हो रहा है, एक है साइमल्टेनियस टाइप और एक है सक्सेसिव टाइप. साइमल्टेनियस का मतलब आपको पता है, द थिंग्स विल हैपन साइमल्टेनियसली, एंड सक्सेसिव मींस एक के बाद एक. फाइन. साइमल्टेनियस टाइप, द साइटोकाइनेसिस occurs simultaneously at the end of the meiosis 2 to form a tetrahedral tetrad. Here wall formation is centripetal. It is common in dicots. You know what's the tetrahedral structure? हाँ, 3-dimensional structure diamond के जैसा दिखाई देता है, tetrahedral. Successive type, the cytokinases occurs twice. That is, each of the two nuclear divisions is followed by wall formation to form isobilateral tetrad. Here the wall formation is centrifugal. It is found in monocots. So ये जो isobilateral है, ये 1 2 3 4 ऐसे चार एक स्क्वायर ब्लॉक के जैसे दिखाई देंगे, एंड टेट्राहेड्रल में वो एक अपने इसके जैसे डायमंड के जैसे दिखाई देंगे. ओके, डायग्राम देखोगे तो इजी हो जाएगा. लुक एट द डायग्राम. सी, दिस इज ऑफ द साइमल्टेनियस टाइप wherein you can see, right, simultaneously it is undergoing the divisions and simultaneously there is going to be the formation. So 1 2 3 4, ये जो ऐसा 3-dimensional figure है, actually it's difficult to show. तो ये जो है ये नीचे और ये ऐसे ऊपर ऐसे एक डायमंड शेप दिखाई देंगे. और ये सक्सेसिव में देखो, इधर ही पहले वॉल फॉर्मेशन हुआ, and after the wall formation there is one more wall formation. So here first wall formation takes place, then the second wall formation takes place. इसलिए successive, एक के बाद एक. And here there is no wall formation anywhere. It's going to occur at the end of the meiosis too. So this is going to be your simultaneous. So dicots will generally show simultaneous type of cell wall formation, and monocots will generally show successive type of cell wall formation. Got this? Fine. So these are the questions that they ask you. They give you this diagram. They ask you to recognize which is simultaneous type, which is successive type, where dicots will show which type, monocots will show which type. So you should know all these things very clearly. Anyone not followed simultaneous and successive? Simultaneous type में After meiosis 1, there is no wall formation. It's partial wall formation which is not complete. And the complete wall formation will take place only after meiosis 2. Okay? For this, clear, all of you all? Any problem to understand simultaneous and successive? No? You want to type, you want time. Okay. By the time, look at this particular description again. Cytokinesis occurs simultaneously at the end of meiosis 2. So at meiosis 1, there won't be any wall formation to form your tetrahedral tetrad. Your wall formation is centripetal. You know what is centripetal and what is centrifugal? Come on, what is centripetal? Center to the periphery or periphery to the center? Come on, tell me. सेंट्रीपेटल कैसा होता है बताओ. हाँ, exactly. Periphery to the center. Correct? Yes, agree. And here you can see it is centrifugal. Okay, that is from the ulta wala. ठीक है? Exactly. So this is how the division is going to take place. That is cytokinesis is going to take place. It is not 3, my dear. The 4th is gone behind. ये जो है ना चौथा इसके पीछे गया है. यही तो बोल रही हूँ. ये 3 dimensional structure है ना. तो जो ये ऐसे फॉर्म में है तो आपको ये पहले वाले 3 दिखाई दे रहे हैं. मेरा ये जो पीछे वाला हाथ है वो नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है ना बेटा. The 4th one पीछे चला गया. So it is not going to be 3. It is 2 and 4 only. But the 4th cannot be viewed in this particular diagram because the wall formation has not taken place. So assuming it has gone back. Okay. It's not 3. It's always 4. Got it? Fine. Yes. 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 I know. It looks like that कि 3 है करके. I agree. But it is on the back side, indicating it to be, your 3-dimensional structure. So ultimately, यहाँ पर you can see 4 ना. After the wall formation, they are showing it to be the 4. Fine. Now ये हमने क्या बनाया? ये 4 क्या है? What are these 4 that have been made by whatever type? What are they? ये जो बने हैं 1, 2, 3, 4. What are they, my dears? ये सारे कौन है? Who are they? No, they are not lobes. It's not zygote. That's why. इसीलिए मैंने पूछा ये क्या बना है. हमने क्या देखा? ये क्या बना है? ये जो 4 बने हैं ना 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. What are these? ये हमने क्या बनाया? क्या देखा हमने? क्या बनाया करके देखा? हाँ, yes. Very good. No, they are not pollen sac, but they are pollen grains. So in this way, each microspore mother cell will undergo meiosis to form 4 haploid cells, which we call it as pollen grains. Got it? Now understood what we have made? ये क्या है समझ में आया? तो एक बार quick recap दे रही हूँ मैं. Please pay attention. Fine. This is a young anther, right? This is a young anther. This anther is still developing. It only has got the outer epidermal wall. Okay, it still has got the outer epidermal wall. Inner side, it has got a mass of parenchyma cells. Inner side, it has got a mass of parenchyma cells. Okay, each parenchyma cell will be called as an archaesporal initial. Each parenchyma cell will be called as archaesporal initial. This archaesporal initial will split into 2 cells. This archaesporal initial will split into 2 cells. The outer cell will be called as parietal primary. The lower cell will be called as primary sporogenous. The primary parietal cell will undergo successive mitosis to form a multi-layered structure which would then differentiate as endothecium, middle layer and tapetum. While the primary sporogenous cell will undergo successive divisions to form sporogenous tissue. Each cell of the sporogenous tissue, each cell of the sporogenous tissue can act as microspore mother cell. That means each cell of the sporogenous tissue can undergo meiosis. The meiosis would either take place in the simultaneous type or it would take place in the successive type, giving rise to 4 haploid cells called as pollen grains. So if there are, look at my question, this is a question to you all now. So if there are 25 MMCs undergoing meiosis, how many pollen grains would be formed? Very good, Preksha, Komal, very good. Come on, others. If there are 25 MMCs, how many pollen grains would be formed? Each MMC gives rise to 4 pollen. So 25 will give rise to, exactly, very good. So all of you all have answered correctly. 100 pollen grains would be formed. Have you all understood this? समझ में आ गई बात बेटा? तो ये जो हमने बनाए हैं ना, ये 4 पोलन ग्रेन्स का एक ग्रुप है जिसको हम टेट्राड कहते हैं. 4 का एक ग्रुप है बेटा ये, इसलिए हम इसको क्या कहते हैं? टेट्राड. ओके, सो 25 MMCs will make 25 tetrads, means 100 pollen. Okay na? 25 MMC will make 25 tetrad. 1 MMC makes 1 tetrad. 1 tetrad is equal to 4 pollen grains. So 25 MMCs will make 25 tetrad. How many pollen grains? 100 pollen grains. Okay. Yeah. Yes. So this type of questions will be asked in your exams. Okay. Would you be able to solve it? Come on. If I say, now look at my question. That there are 160 pollen grains formed. How many MMCs have been participated? कितने MMCs participate करेंगे to form 160 pollen grains? Very nice, Komal. Yes. Now you got the question. Very good. So it's going to be your 40 MMC. Agree. Okay. Then if the question comes as there are 180 pollen grains formed. There are 180 pollen grains formed. Find out the number of MMC and the number of tetrad. What would be your answer? 180 MMC is formed. 180 pollen grains formed. How many MMCs? How many tetrads? Very good. Who is this? Sneha Sharma. Yes, Ansh. You're right, beta. Very good, Ansh. Yes, Ishita, right. Yes, Parnavi, right. Very good. Hey, no, it cannot be 720 tetrads. No. No, not 180 tetrads. नहीं, 4.5 कैसे हो सकता है? No, not 389. 180 pollen grains. No. 36.9 भी नहीं. Komal, now this is correct. This answer is correct. 45 MMC जिसने आंसर दिया है करेक्ट है, बिकॉज 180 डिवाइडेड बाय 4 करोगे तो आपको 45 आता है, बराबर है। 45 MMC, तो 1 MMC will make 1 tetrad, so 45 MMC will make 45 tetrads. Simple, isn't it? So number of tetrads अगर क्वेश्चन आता है ना, तो जितने MMC उतने tetrad. अगर नंबर ऑफ पोलिंग ग्रेन क्वेश्चन आता है तो आपको मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 4 या डिवाइडेड बाय 4 जो दिया है, मतलब हाउ द क्वेश्चन इज अकॉर्डिंगली करना पड़ेगा। ओके, anyone having difficulty in understanding this, my dears? Now it's simple, now it's easy. One more question, give you one more question. Okay, अगर किसको डाउट है तो पूछो बेटा, नहीं समझा है तो पूछो। See, 1 MMC will undergo meiosis to form 4 haploids. So these 4 haploids will be called as 4 pollen grains, and these 4 pollen grains are always attached together. So because they are always attached together, this attachment will be called as what? 1 tetrad. So 1 MMC gives rise to 1 tetrad, and 1 tetrad will be consisting of 4 pollens. So 1 MMC will give rise to 4 pollens. Okay ना? है कोई डिफिकल्टी बेटा किसी को? Some of you all have answered 36.9 or 369 or something. I don't know. Someone answered 42. So all those people who have understood this, how to do this now? Sure. One more question. Shall I give you one more question? 240 pollen grains involves how many MMCs and how many tetrads? 240 MMC. Sorry, 240 pollen grains. 240 pollen grains involves how many MMC and how many tetrads? Very good, David James. Very nice. Yes. Now all of you all are going right. Very good. Very good. ओए 40 वाला कौन है भाई? 40 कैसा होगा? 240 है, 240। हाँ, yes. Yes. Now all are correct. Almost 40 सिर्फ wrong है. Now yeah, 60 is correct. Correct? 60 is right. Anyone else who has not understood this? It's okay. It's okay. Anyone else who have not understood this content, बेटा? पक्का समझाना, नहीं समझाए तो पूछो पूछो प्लीज। इट्स सिंपल, यू हैव टू जस्ट मल्टीप्लाई और डिवाइड। चलो लास्ट क्वेश्चन, लास्ट क्वेश्चन। ओके, लास्ट क्वेश्चन। देर आर 75 MMCs. How many tetrad, how many pollen? 75 MMC, how many tetrad, how many pollen? हाँ, पोलन करेक्ट आंसर दिया है। हाउ मेनी टेट्राड्स? कम ऑन, 75 MMC है तो हाउ मेनी टेट्राड्स, हाउ मेनी पोलन? वेरी गुड अंश। यस यस, प्रेक्षा करेक्ट। yes 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 yes, yeah, now I'm very happy that you all are giving the perfect answers. Correct, correct, correct. Himanshu, answer this question. Himanshu, what is the answer beta? How many tetrad, how many pollen? Type your answer, my dear. Ha, correct answer Himanshu, correct. And how many tetrads beta? Yeah, Komal, your answer is also correct. Yes. So it is going to be 300 pollen and 75 tetrad. Okay. तो जितने MMC है उतने ही टेट्राड्स होते हैं, तो ये आपको कैलकुलेट करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है, क्वेश्चन में ही आ गया। ठीक है, तो जितने MMC उतने टेट्राड, और जितने MMC उसको मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 4 करोगे तो यू विल गेट द आंसर ऑफ पोलन। सो वाइस वर्सा। आई होप यू ऑल हैव फॉलोड। श्योर ना? Yeah. Now, besides tetrahedral and isobilateral tetrads, other type of tetrads are linear tetrad, T-shaped tetrad, decussate tetrad. Now, the microspores are separated from the tetrads after this. Okay, so you can see this tetrahedral 1 2 3 4 just like a diamond as I showed you. This is isobilateral. This is decussae. अभी इसमें भी आप बोलोगे कि तीसरा किधर है, तो तीसरा इधर पीछे चला गया, तो 1 2 3 और जो चौथा है वो मोटा हो गया है, like this way. This is called as decussae. This is your T shape, 1 2 3 4. Okay, and this is linear in one row. Okay. Yeah, yes my dear, so that is what you have to be very clear with this particular concept. इसीलिए मैंने इतने सारे questions आप लोग को पूछे बेटा, right? So these are the different types of tetrads which are going to be formed. It's a tetrad, so always four. यहाँ पर दिखने के लिए तीन है, लेकिन एक इसके पीछे है जो इसके ऊपर बैठा हुआ है. Okay, got it? Yeah, no need of remembering these examples कि किसमें क्या है, no need. Just remember the types of your arrangement of the pollen grains being formed due to cytokinases. So the way the cytokinases will occur, accordingly the tetrad would be organized or arranged. Okay? Yeah. They are saying that in Aristolochia elegans, all the 5 types of microspore arrangements are present. So it is going to be having the capacity to make tetrahedral also, isobilateral also, all 5 types. Okay. No, there would pollen base means they will be in one line, in one row. Linear में they'll be in one row. एक के ऊपर एक. जैसे हमारे बिस्किट के पैकेट्स होते हैं ना, कैसे अरेंज होते हैं हमारे ग्लूकोज के बिस्किट्स, कैसे अरेंज होते हैं एक के ऊपर एक, लाइक दैट इट विल लुक इन योर लीनियर, एक के ऊपर एक. ओके, गॉट दिस? क्लियर अबाउट दिस? ओके, फाइन. Some unusual features, yes, they are unusual because I have included this because they have been asked very frequently and not given in your books, and they are really very unusual. In Drosera, Typha, Alloda, Hydrilla, all the pollen grains do not separate, and thus they form a compound pollen grain. So they remain attached as tetrad only. They won't separate eventually. Normal case में क्या हो जाएगा? Tetrad बनने के बाद है ना, they would separate from each other, and they will be dispersed as single pollen. But in case of Drosera, Typha and all ना, ये चार है ना, ये separate नहीं होते हैं. ये चार के चार ऐसे bundles में ही चले जाते हैं, तो उसको हम कहते हैं compound pollen. Okay, in the members of the family Cyperaceae, Cyprus, out of 4 pollen in a tetrad, 3 degenerates and only 1 remains alive. So one meiosis produces only 1 pollen. Most important. You know why? Because in the exam they give Cyprus had 25 mmCs. How many pollen grains will be formed? So if they write down in Cyprus, please understand it's in Cyprus. And in Cyprus, out of 4, 3 degenerate. So if 25 mmCs are there, only 25 pollens will be formed and not 100. Only in Cyprus. तो ये क्वेश्चन आया था बेटा. आई नो ये एम्स के क्वेश्चंस थे, बट बेटा ये जो क्वेश्चंस है ना, अभी एम्स के एग्जाम निकल गए, नीट में ही एम्स के भी रिजल्ट्स लगने वाले हैं. So we don't know, such type of questions might be asked in your NEET exam as well. Okay, so be very careful with this particular part. So Cyprus अगर word आता है तो Cyprus की क्या unusual fact क्या है, that instead of 1 mmC producing 4, it produces 4 of course, but 3 degenerate and only 1 sustains. Therefore अगर Cyprus word आएगा तो your answer won't be the same common as others. Okay. Sometimes more than 4 pollen grains are produced from 1 mmC. It is called as polyspory, as seen in Cuscuta. So they ask you polyspory is seen in which of the following examples or in which of the following plants? So it's Cuscuta. In Calotropis and some orchids, all the pollen grains of an anther lobe form a typical structure called as pollinium. So see, in Calotropis and orchids, what happens? ये जो suppose as I said 25 mmCs है ना, तो 100 पोलन्स बने, करेक्ट. तो ये 100 के 100 पोलन्स एक दूसरे को चिपक के एक बड़ा सा स्ट्रक्चर बनाते हैं जिसको हम कहते हैं पोलिनियम. Did you all understand what is the difference between compound pollen and pollinium? कंपाउंड पोलन में टेट्राहेड्रल ही रहेंगे, 4 4 के ग्रुप्स निकल जाएंगे बाहर. और पोलिनियम में जितने भी पोलन ग्रेन्स बने हैं, they all will stick together and they form a very large composite structure called as pollinium. Okay, got it? Difference between compound pollen and pollinium समझा बेटा? Clear है ये? Fine. So these are the unusual facts that you should know. Fine, not given anywhere, but you should know. Okay, and to wind up with today's class, I'll just complete the pollen grain ka structure and we will stop, and tomorrow we can go ahead with the next part. But this part is very crucial, easy but crucial. Very important, very, very important. So please pay very good attention again to the structure of the pollen grain. You will always get confused with the structure of the anther and structure of the pollen. So listen to this particular content very nicely. Fine. Microspores or the pollen grain is the first cell of the male gametophyte, which is partially developed. Size is around 20 to 25 micrometers. It is unicellular and it is haploid. The shape varies from oval to polyhedral. The wall of the pollen grain is made up of two layers. Outer will be called as exine and the inner will be called as entine. Exine की बात पहले करेंगे. Exine is made up of sporopollenin, which is derived from the carotenoid, one of the most resistant organic materials known. Sporopollenin will be formed by the tapetum. है ना, अभी हमने देखा था. तो sporopollenin is the toughest chemical on the earth to be degraded. It is so toughest. ना उसको temperature कुछ प्रॉब्लम कर सकता है, ना उसको कोई पीएच वेरी कर सकता है. आप उसको किधर भी डालो, स्पोरोपोलेनिन इंटैक्ट रहेगा बेटा. सो इट इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट रेजिस्टेंट ऑर्गेनिक मटेरियल नोन. कुछ नहीं होता है स्पोरोपोलेनिन को, कुछ भी नहीं. इट वोंट गेट डिग्रेडेड बाय एनी मेथड्स. फाइन. इट इज थिक एंड ऑर्नामेंटेड, मीन्स जैसे मैंने बताया, इट में हैव यू नो spokes, it may have ribbon shape, it may be. So exine के अलग अलग shape है. Okay, because of the sporopollenin, and it is due to the Ubish bodies. I hope you remember tapetum में अभी हमने Ubish bodies देखे थे. Yeah, it's tougher than animal as well. It's the most toughest. Okay, at certain places the exine remains unthickened or missing, and these places are called as germ pores. So at some places ना, the exine is not going to be, जैसे nucleus होता है ना बेटा अपना, nucleus हमने cell unit of life में देखा था, has got two walls, outer and inner. और जो आउटर वॉल थी वो बीच बीच में ऐसे न्यूक्लियर पोर्स बना रही थी ना, वैसे ही यहाँ पर भी है ना, स्पोरोपोलेनिन के डिपोजिशन कहीं कहीं पर नहीं होते हैं. सो दैट रीजन वेयर द स्पोरोपोलेनिन इज एब्सेंट will be called as a germ pore. Okay, it will be called as a germ pore. Sporopollenin is resistant to physical, biological decomposition, alkali, acids, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. So pollen wall can be preserved for a very long period in the fossil deposits. The exine exhibits a fascinating array of patterns and designs. Here you can see these are the pollen grains. Look at the fascinating designs and arrays as we see. The intine is thin, delicate, and it is made up of cellulose and pectose. So exine is made up of sporopollenin, intine is made up of cellulose and pectose. Okay. In insect pollinated flowers, the exine of the pollen grain is covered with a yellowish, viscous and sticky substance called as pollen kit. So that what will happen? This pollen kit का main function क्या है देखो. This is perhaps the protective envelope which also sticks to the body of the insects and thus helps in pollination. So insect जब आएगा ना वो flower के पास, अगर sticky pollen grain है ना, तो वो उसके feathers को, उसके mouth parts को pollen grain easily चिपक जाएंगे. और जब वो insect दूसरे flower पे जाएगा ना, तो वो pollen grains वहाँ पर deposit हो जाएंगे. So maybe it is an adaptation for insect pollinated flowers to make the sticky pollens. So stickiness के लिए they give out a sticky substance called as pollen kit. This pollen kit will be having predominantly it is going to be made up of lipids and sugars. Pollen kit is made up of lipids and sugars. Fine. It is chiefly made up of lipids, carotenoids and sugars. The development of male gametophyte from the pollen grain is called as microgametogenesis. सो ये जो डेवलपमेंट है मेल गेमिटोफाइट की, उसको हम कहते हैं माइक्रो गेमिटोजेनेसिस। सो एक्साइन एंड इंटाइन तक समझ में आ गई बात बेटा? Exine outer layer made up of sporopollenin, intine inner layer made up of cellulose and pectose. Sporopollenin का कुछ पार्ट है जहां पर डिपोजिशन नहीं होता है, that part will be called as germ pore. Okay. Yeah, it is resistant to everything. Sporopollenin is resistant to everything, beta. Everything. Fine. These are the different sizes and types of your pollen grains. Okay. I won't talk about the pre-pollination development because this needs a continuation. So from the pre-pollination development, we will go into the details tomorrow. Fine. So tomorrow we can continue with this particular chapter. As of now, I'll stop here. And I hope you all have understood how to calculate this also. ये calculation समझ में आ चुके हैं, I hope. So I stop for today. See you all tomorrow, and we'll go ahead with the next part of this, that is male gametogenesis, and we'll talk about the female gametogenesis as well. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, that's okay now. You get it now. Okay. Bye, beta. See you all. See you all.